One of the most common marksmanship issues is the dreaded pushing shots low and left. Got a fun dry fire drill to work on that. Well, fun and super maddening and frustrating and maybe infuriating, but oh well. The drill is called Trigger Control at Speed. The procedure for the drill is, we'll talk about dry fire first. Guns pointed at a target in dry fire. Finger is just out of contact with the trigger. So I'm not prepped up to the wall or anything like that. It's just not touching the trigger. On a beep, I'm going to mash the trigger immediately and be sensitive to any movement of my sight, whether my sight blips or something like that. A few things that are important about the drill that I think are commonly missed or overlooked, because you can make yourself look pretty good on this drill and not really accomplish anything. If you're pushing shots low and left in live fire training, you need to be able to simulate that in your dry fire training. If you're not able to simulate that, that means you're not doing the drill correctly. I'm sorry to say. A few things that I think are really important that will aid in making sure you do the drill correctly. For your start signal, it needs to be a random time. So I like, if you have a shot timer and it has a random delay, you can normally set a threshold. So I want at least, normally for me, I do like 2.2 or 2.3 seconds. Something like that's the minimum it could be. Then after that, it's just whenever. So that gives me enough time to, if I have the timer clipped to my pocket or belt, I can press the button to start it, then have my gun up on target, grip presented, and that gives me a couple seconds to be ready and settled in, waiting for the beep. If you don't have a shot timer, mobile apps do the same type of thing. Again, what you're looking for is just a random start time. When you do the drill, again, like I said, being very, very sensitive to any kind of movement and being able to recreate what you're doing with live ammo. So initially, when you start doing this drill, if your shot's going low and left, you should see, maybe it's not a ton, you should see a little bit, at least, happening. If not, you're just not doing the drill properly. The other things you can do to cheat on this drill. On the trigger, I could prep up. This Walther has a light trigger, but I could prep up to take up, remove all the take up. Then when I get the beep, just pull a little bit. That would make the drill easier. The farther your finger is away from the trigger, the tougher the drill is going to be. At some point, doing it where your finger is kind of straight and alongside the trigger is a good idea too. I do mine sometimes where my finger's pushed against the front of the trigger guard away from the trigger. But the most of the time, I would say it's just inside the trigger guard. I'm not putting any pressure to it. It's kind of just out of contact. I think that's the best spot to do that, because for me, that's what I'm most likely to do, where I'm running around. Either I draw the gun or I'm running around. I personally don't advocate putting pressure into the trigger when the sights aren't on something you intend to shoot. So I'm not a prep and press while you're running around or transitioning the gun around or anything like that. So for me, I would look to the target I want to hit. The sight comes over. When the sight gets to where I want it to go, then I'm going to press the trigger. So again, I'm looking to recreate the same habits in dry fire. One other thing that you can do to make yourself feel better, but it's not going to be helpful to you, is taking your time. So once the beep goes, you hear beep, and then you could press through or prep and press, stop to the wall, then gently press pressure. At some point before the sun goes down, the striker falls, and you could do that very easily without moving the sight at all. Like I said, another tip, that's not going to be recreating anything that you see with live ammo, so it's just not helpful. That's not the way you shoot live guns, hopefully in competition, if you want to be winning anything. As far as live ammo goes, you do the same drill on the range with live ammo. Gun prepped up on the target. When you hear the beep, just mashing through the trigger and just seeing where the bullets go. The bullets should be going where you want them to go. And if they're going low and left, you could just keep working on this in dry fire too. I like the drill quite a bit. It's one I still do to this day. I think it's very helpful. For me, if I'm at a match, it's a good one to do just at the safe table. Just work on drawing the gun, making sure I index the gun so the sight's looking where I want it to go, having the right grip on the gun, and then pressing the trigger. So anyway, hopefully that's a helpful one. And if you have any questions, drop it below.